हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाये नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शङ्करं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरं भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ओम नमः शिवाय। 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 नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। We'll begin with the Shanti mantra. ओम वांग में मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो में वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेति वेदस्य माणिस्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहसीः अनेनादितेनाहोरात्रान् संदधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। We shall chant the first mantra of Aitareya Upanishad. ओम आत्मा वायदमेक एव अग्र आसीत् न अन्यत् किंचन मिषत Saikshata lokan sruja iti. So this Upanishad is from Rig Veda, and the theme of all the Upanishads is to indicate the oneness of the inner self with Brahma. So Brahma, which is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Anandam, which is also indicated as the source from where this world arises, in which the world remains, and in which the world again merges back, Janmadhyasya Yataha. That Brahma is not different from my own inner self. So I am Atma Brahma, Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Prajnanam Brahma. In all these Mahavakyas, this identity of Atma and Brahma is revealed. We have seen Chandogya Upanishad, in which the famous Mahavakya is there, Tattvamasi. In Mandukya Upanishad, we have another Mahavakya, Ayam Atma Brahma. This Atma is Brahma. In Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, we have another Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi. And in this present Upanishad, which we are studying, we have a Mahavakya. The Mahavakya is Prajnanam Brahma. So important Mahavakyas are chosen from 4 different Vedas, but there are many other Mahavakyas also. So this Upanishad begins with a very beautiful mantra. It says that Atma va idam eka eva agra asit. Om Atma va idam eka eva agra asit. That this idam, this world which is experienced as idam, which we experience, which has variety of forms with variety of names and variety of activities. This world was Atma alone before it came into manifestation. But what about now? Even now, the world is Atma alone. But it also expresses in different forms, having different names. So it can also be spoken about with various names. But all these names and all these forms and all the activities are Atma alone. So when this world was not there, in the sense before it manifested, it was Atma alone. Atma alone was there and nothing else was there. Na anyat kinchana mishata. So now also Atma alone is there, but with some visheshta. So Atma alone is expressing with variety of forms and names. So this variety of forms and names and activities are the Visheshta of Atma, the speciality of Atma. And before the manifestation of this world, Atma remains as Nirvishesh. So that Nirvishesh Atma itself is Brahma, itself is indicated as Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Anandam. So how come this Atma alone becomes everything or appears as everything? Can you give some example? So Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji gives a very beautiful example in his Bhashya. So let us read Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji's Bhashya. He says, कि यथा सलिलात् पृथक् फेन नाम रूप व्याकरणात् प्राक् सलिल एक शब्द प्रत्यय गोचरम एव फेनम यदा सलिलात् पृथक् नाम रूप भेदेन व्याकृतं भवति तदा सलिलं फेनम च इति अनेक शब्द प्रत्यय भाक् सलिलम् एव इति च एक शब्द प्रत्यय भाक् च फेनम भवति तद्वत्. Shankaracharya says that this you can understand with an example. Like water, if you have gone to the beach and all, we see the vast ocean. And the vast ocean is nothing but water alone. So when you stand near the beach and when the waves strikes, you see the water approaching the banks. And as the water approaches, you can see the water getting converted into lots of foam. It becomes whitish. Lots of little bubbles. They are formed. And the whole water appears totally different. But if you keep looking at that water, suddenly the foam disappears and you can see the clear water again. Again the next wave strikes and you see the formation of this foam, little bubbles, many bubbles together. It appears as though something other than water is there, as though something else is born. But if you keep looking at that foam, it just disappears and water alone remains. So even when the foam is there, it is water alone. It is not something different from water. But the same water, we call it foam. We call it bubble. Paying attention to the particular form, we give a different name to it. But essentially, it is water alone. So Shankaracharya gives this beautiful example. That before Salilat Prathak Fena Nama Rupa Vyakarana Prak. So before the water expressed as foam, bubbles, etc., Salila Eka Shabda Pratyaya Gocharam Eva Fenam. So it was known only as water. The foam was also known as water only. Then the water expresses as foam. Yada salilat pruthak, as though different from water. The nature of water is so clear and crystalline, transparent, but this foam appears frothy. So as though it looks different from water, yada salilat pruthak nama rupa bhedena vyakrutam, it expresses with different form, having different names. Tada salilam phenam, then we can call it water also. We can call it phena, means foam also. We can call it bubble also. Different, it is expressed with different names. So salilam phenam cha iti aneka shabda pratyaya bhak. Or salilam eva iti cha eka shabda pratyaya bhak. Or we can call it only water only. Phenam bhavati tadvata. In the same way, this entire world which we see and experience, including I, the experiencer, is nothing but that Brahma alone. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Anantam, Brahma alone am I. And Brahma alone is this world. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Everything is Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahma. But we experience different forms having different name. So those forms, they have their own characteristics. The forms which appear, they have their own characteristics, which are different from the characteristics of the Brahma. So Brahma alone, which appears like this world, the world is constantly changing, but Brahma doesn't change. World is inert, but Brahma is not inert. World appears made up of lot of limited objects, but Brahma is not limited. World appears to be filled with sorrow, pain, suffering, sadness, but Brahma is always blissful. So the expression has got different nature, but the essential nature of this world is Brahma. So this has to be understood, because there is a lot of misunderstanding about the world, about Brahma among Vedantins. One misunderstanding they have is that whole world is like a superimposition on Brahma. And they give the example of rope and snake. Just as a rope is lying somewhere and you mistake it for snake, means you superimpose the idea of snake on the rope out of ignorance. Similarly, they say out of ignorance, we have superimposed the idea of world on Brahma. They say that world is the product of ignorance. But that is not what the Upanishads say, and that is not what Adi Shankaracharya says. World is expression of Brahma by its own nature. The very nature of Brahma is to express as the world. Just like the very nature of water is to express like foam. Similarly, it is the very nature of Brahma to express as the world. That nature is called Prakriti or Maya. This is just a name. But Prakriti is not different from Brahma. Maya is not different from Brahma. Just like water by its own power expresses as foam, but that power is not different from water. See, if you just look at water, so fascinating. In the liquid form, if you put it in a container, it takes the shape of the container. In a cubical container, it becomes like a cube. In a spherical container, the water appears to be spherical. In a conical container, it appears like a cone. It takes the shape of the container. And on the ground, it just flows. It takes the easiest path to just flow. That is all the nature of water. It's liquid. But when the temperature goes down, this liquid water solidifies to become a solid, like a rock. That which was liquid turns into a rock. We call it ice. And as the temperature rises, it again melts to become liquid. And if the temperature rises further, it gets evaporated to become vapor. But whether it appears like ice or as water or as vapor, the essential nature of it remains same. The essential nature of that water, ice and vapor is hydrogen and oxygen, H2O. H2O is the upadan karan of water, the material cause. The material cause always remains with the effect. The material cause always remains with the effect. Similarly, Brahma is the material cause of this world. Brahma always remains with the world. There is nothing in this world which is devoid of Brahma. Everything is pervaded by Brahma. So it is the very nature of Brahma to express as this world. And when we say world, world is both the seer as well as the seen. The infinite seers of this world, they are called jivas. And the infinite vast world are expressions of Brahma. In Bhagavad Gita also, Bhagavan says, he calls this seer a kshetrajna. And what the kshetrajna is experiencing is called kshetra. So Kshetra and Kshetrajna together are expressions of Brahma. So in Gita, Bhagavan says, Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetramitya Vidhiyate Etad Yo Vidditam Prahuhu Kshetrajniti Tadvidaha. Kshetrajnam chapi mam viddi sarvakshetreshu bharata. He says, this body is kshetra and the seer of this body, knower of this body, kshetrajna. And then he says, in all the bodies, there are these kshetrajnas are there, but ultimately those kshetrajna, all the kshetrajna is myself only. The kshetra is also myself. That Bhagavan showed in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that the whole Vishwa is myself. He showed the Vishwa Rupa to Arjuna. And then in 13th chapter, Bhagavan tells that the Kshetrajna is also myself. Kshetrajnam cha api mam eva. Kshetrajnam cha api mam. Kshetrajna also is myself. So this is very important to remember and understand. Now Bhagavan also tells what are the various misunderstandings which are there. Because unless we understand what is conveyed in Vedanta properly, and unless we remove all misunderstandings, we will not be able to do our sadhana properly. And we will not be able to attain that enlightenment. Just as if you want to travel long distance, we have to catch the right flight or right train. If you sit in a wrong train, it will take you to some different destination. Similarly, if we have a misunderstanding about what is conveyed in the Upanishads, our sadhana will be wrong. So it is very important that we understand things properly. So first thing we have to understand is this world is not an illusion. Illusion is the product of avidya. World is not illusion, is called mithya. So world is not mithya. Because this world is not a product of avidya. It is the expression of Brahma with his own power called Maya. And this is said everywhere. In Gita, Bhagavan says, Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sataracharam. In my presence, my prakriti creates this world. Everywhere it is said. In the Upanishads, in the Puranas, in the Itihas. But still, people hold on to some wrong ideas and they keep on promoting it. Like the statement which they keep on saying, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. This is not proper. Jagat is not Mithya. Brahma Satyam, Jagat is also Brahma only. But Brahma appears in a different way. The appearance, the nature of the appearance is different. The characteristics of the appearance is different. Just as water, when it H2O, when it appears like water, the characteristic of water is different. And the characteristic of hydrogen and oxygen are different. So here Bhagwan Shankaracharya writes in his commentary कि न अन्यत किंचना न किंचित अपि निशत, that other than Atma nothing else was there. There was nothing active, nothing other than Atma was there. Vyaparvat itaradva, nothing active or non-active, nothing was there other than Atma. Then he says, Yatha Sankhyanam Anatma Pakshapati Swatantram Pradhanam. Just like he says that there is this Sankhya philosophy is there. Sankhya Darshan. See, there are many darshans, means philosophies, which were present during Shankaracharya's times, and they are there even now, which are not based on the Vedas. They take certain portion of the Vedas, but they also use their own inference to arrive at certain understanding of the reality. So Sankhya, Yoga, Vaisheshika, Nyaya, these are the darshanas which are not based fully 100% on the Vedas, but they take a lot of these words from the Vedas. Like the word Sankhya is a Vedic word. Even Bhagwan Sri Krishna uses that word in Bhagavad Gita. Even the yoga word is also Vedic. But when these philosophers they use these words, they convey some other meaning. They give some other meanings to that word. So there is one philosophy called Sankhya Darshan. So according to Sankhya, they also say that Atma is there. But according to them, they use the term Purusha. According to them, in every body, there is one Purusha. So there are many Purushas are there. And this world is the product of what they call Pradhan. What we call Prakriti, they use the term Pradhan. And according to them, this Pradhana is different from Purusha. So when the world goes into unmanifestation, when the pralaya happens, then Purushas remain and Pradhana also remain. So Atma is there, and other than Atma, that Pradhana is also there. But in the Upanishad, it is said Atma alone is there, nothing else is there. But they say, no, Atma is there and this Pradhan is also there. So Shankaracharya says that this is not what is conveyed in the Upanishads. Then there are other philosophers, they are the Vaisheshikas. That philosophy is given by one of the great philosophers called Kannad. This Sankhya philosophy is revealed by Kapila. And this Vaisheshik by Kannad. So Tatha Yathacha Kannadaanam Anvo Anavo Na Tadvat. And according to this Vaisheshik philosophy, they say that Atma is there, and other than Atma, lots and lots of atoms are there, anus, lots of anus, they are there before creation. And all these anus, they come together to become the world. Just like in modern science also, they also, once upon a time, they believed that the finest structure of this world is an atom. Because if some material is there, we just open it to see what is it made up of. So we keep on breaking it to the finest level. So similarly, science also broke the material to see what is it made up of. And they reached the atom, and they came to understand that atom is the building block of this world. Similarly, this Vaisheshik philosophy also, they say atoms are the building blocks of this world. Atoms, they just inert there, they just come together to form different objects. But in science, when they started looking into this atom, they came to know that atom is also made up of parts. Atom can also be broken. An atom is made up of proton, neutron, and electron. So there is a nucleus with proton, neutron, and electrons. They keep moving, revolving around this nucleus. So they came to understand that atom is also breakable. So there are subatomic parts are there. And they kept on splitting that atom and the subatomic parts. And they came to know that it also can be broken further. So they kept on breaking, and they understood that smallest part is that some quarks, and also that atom contains vast energy. So they keep on breaking, and the more they break, they come to know that more can be broken also. So they have not yet reached this very core of it. But this is not what is conveyed in the Upanishad. Shankaracharya says, Ki na tadvad iha. It is not said here in this Upanishad. Anyat atmanah kinchit api vastu vidyate. Other than Atma, no other objects are there. No other object, no other person, nothing else is there. Atma alone, one alone. And in that Atma there are no divisions. In that Atma there are no activities. In that Atma there are no forms. There are no colors. See, just as the water by itself is transparent, but when that water gets expressed as foam, that foam can be seen. With a form, like hydrogen and oxygen are gas which we cannot see. But when that hydrogen and oxygen come together and form water, water can be seen. Similarly, Brahma or Atma itself is nameless, formless, and the world is not there in that Brahma. Nothing is there. Neha nanasti kinchana. There's no division of any kind. But the same Brahma, when it expresses as this world, we see this variety suddenly. So many forms and so many names, and every form has different swabhav, different characteristics. See, in the Upanishad it is said, from this Atma alone, space came into manifestation. Tasmad va etasmad atmanah akashas sambhutah. From that Atma, Akash was born. And Akash, you can't see, you can't touch, you can't smell, you can't hold. Akash is so subtle, so strange, you cannot comprehend. Akashad Vayuhu, but a great thing happened. From that Akash, Vayu appeared. And Vayu has got movement. Vayu has got movement. Akash doesn't have any movement. Akash is all pervading. But in that Akash, Akash alone expressed as Vayu. Atma expressed as Akash. Akash expressed as Vayu. Vayu started moving. There is movement. In Akash there is no movement. But Akash is the source, is the Upadan Karan of Vayu. And in Vayu there is movement. And the same Vayu gave birth to Agni. And in Agni we have heat, and Agni we have light. So suddenly light appeared. We can see light. Light appeared. Light is something which we can see. Vayu we can't see. Light we can see. Fire we can see. In Akash, these qualities are not there. But from the same Akash, Vayu is born. From Vayu, Agni is born. Agni has got this characteristic of light. And from fire, water is born, which has got such fantastic qualities. Fire we can't drink. If I am thirsty, I can't drink fire. But fire alone gave birth to water, and water we can drink. We can quench our thirst. We can't quench our thirst with Akash or with Vayu or with Agni, but with water we can. But we can't eat. That same water gave rise to earth, matter, which gave rise to many amazing planets, our own earth, with variety of then beings were born. So all these are expressions of Atma alone. But the expressions, they have different characteristics which are not there in Atma. These characteristics are special for the form. They are not present in Atma. Similarly, in that Atma, there is no birth, there is no death, there is no change, there is no duality, there is no creation, there is no destruction, there is no bondage, there is no freedom. But by its very nature, when it expresses as this world, all these varieties we see. Just as if you go to the market and buy an ink pot, an ink bottle, nice blue ink. Then you fill that ink in your fountain pen and you have a story in your head about your own life, your own biography. So with that pen and with that ink, you write. You write your biography. And in your biography, there are so many dramas, suspense, romance, fear, excitement, tragedy, comedy, all these are there. And from where they came, what is the material? The material is ink. But in that ink itself, there is no comedy, tragedy, nothing is there. Similarly, Brahma is like that ink, and this whole world is a novel expressed from that Brahma, having all varieties of rasa. So not Shankaracharya writes that Atma alone was there before, nothing else. Atma eva eka asid iti abhiprayah. Atma alone was there. Then he writes further कि सर्वज्ञ स्वभाव्यात् आत्मा एक एव सन ईक्षत. That Atma which is one and it is by nature sarvajna. Atma by nature is sarvajna. Now this is also very important. Atma by nature is sarvajna. Shankaracharya writes कि सर्वज्ञ स्वभाव्यात् Atma eka eva san ikshata. So since it is sarvajna by nature, it thought. See, there was nothing else. World was not there. There was no form. There was no mind. There was no intellect. There was no speech. So how did the Atma think? Atma alone was there. How could he think? Bhagavan says he is sarvajna. He doesn't require anything else. But this question is raised. So Shankaracharya himself raises this question. Nanu means this question. Ki prag utpattehe, before creation, akarya karanatvat. There was no karya, there was no effect. Therefore, there was no karana, there were no instruments like mana, buddhi. Katham ikshatavan. How did he think? How did he think? Shankaracharya says this is not a defect. Nayam doshaha. Why? Sarvajna swabhavyat. तथा च मंत्र वर्णः अपाणिपादो जवनो grahita. It is said in the Upanishad elsewhere, without hands he holds, without legs he moves. See, this can be understood by just analyzing our dream. Our dream. Our dream is a projection of our mind. So when I go to sleep, I sleep on my bed in my room, but then I dream that I am in a garden, beautiful garden, which has got a jogging track, and I am jogging. But how did you jog without legs, without a garden? Hmm. Then I also am singing while jogging. How did you sing? I am also breathing. I am also seeing around. How did you see? How did you breathe? All this was created by my mind. In my mind, potentially, all these things are there. So if I have to dream, I don't have to make a garden. I don't have to create my body. It just is there, expressed. So by nature, this mind has got a potential to produce all this. So sitting at one place without going anywhere, with my mind I can go. I can visit many places with my mind. I can do experiment with my mind. In science also there are certain experiments which are done with the mind only. Because to actually do the experiments are very difficult. So with the help of the mind, they do those experiments. Mental experiments. Mind is also just a product of that Atma. Atma by nature is Sarvatnya. So without the need for a mind, for intellect, it thought that let me create the worlds. Hmm. So this is very important. What is important? That Atma or this Brahma is by nature Sarvajna. Even when the Sarva is not produced, it is Sarvajna. Just as a great scientist, Albert Einstein, when he is there, he is a great scientist. What about when he is sleeping? Is he not a great scientist when he is sleeping? Yes, he is a great scientist even when he is sleeping. But his great science is not getting expressed. But even there, he is a great scientist. Similarly, the Sarvajna nature of that Brahma, even when it doesn't express, is Sarvajna only. When Brahma expresses as Hiranyagarbha, the Sarvajna nature of Brahma gets expressed. As Hiranyagarbha, the Sarvajnata of Brahma get expressed. Hmm. Just as when we dive into the well, the lots of water around, I dive to find some object which has fallen into the well. And when I see that object, I can see it, but I cannot say anything about it. When I come out, I speak. So what I saw, I could express only after coming out of there. But even when I was inside, I knew that object. So that Brahma is Sarvajna by Swabhav. Therefore it is said, he thought, let me create the world. So ityadi kena abhiprayena ityaha. With what idea, with what prayojan did he think? Why did he think? What did he think? Lokam ambha prabhutin prani karma phala upabhoga sthana bhutan nu srujeham iti. He thought, let me create this world, which are conveyed further as amba, etc. And for what purpose? Prani karma phala upabhoga sthana bhutan. For the sake of the pranis, the jivas, prani karma phala upabhoga sthana. They are the place where they can experience the result of their karma. So lokas are the place where they can experience the result of their karma. Prani karma phala upabhoga sthana bhutanu shrujeham iti. They are the support. These worlds are the support for all the jivas to remain, not only to perform the karma, but also to experience the karma. So this is the first mantra. With this, the first mantra is over. So Om Atma va idam eka eva grasit na anyat kinchana mishata sa ikshatat lokam no shrujayati. So Atma thought, let me create the worlds. Then he created the worlds. So what worlds did he create? That is said in the next mantra, which we will see on Monday. Till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, and listen to the pravachan again. And think about everything that is said. Contemplate and understand. Okay? And see you on Monday. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 श्री राम जय जय राम, श्री राम जय जय राम, जय जय राम, जय राम। बोले सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।